Greetings, G-Man Faithful. This is your Commander-in-Chief, G-Man, reporting to you live on G-Man Live Weekly. And today we will be bringing you a movie segment called Spotlight. Yes, Spotlight. So, probably a lot of you guys never heard of Spotlight because you're all too fucking busy worrying about Star Wars, man. Star Wars and Kylo Ren and, all that shit. And then you got that little fucking dude looks like R2 fucking D2, and then you got R2D2, and then all that other shit. Han Solo, Chewbacca, all that stuff. Put that aside for a little bit. We're going to break down Spotlight. So, Spotlight, yep. A fucking great cast. This is going to be a movie that will be nominated for an Oscar. No question about it. Movie is good. Real good. In my line of work, full price. You know you can take that shit to the bank. When I say full price, I mean full fucking price. So, let's jump in and let's break it down. So, Spotlight takes place up in Boston. The Boston Globe is, doing some research, trying to figure out, what's kind of going on with like some of these things that they hear every now and then. It's kind of like a passing thing. They're not really keeping their eye on the ball. About molestations coming from the church. They get like rumors about it. And there's a couple guys on the case, and they're not really all that. They're not like jumping in on this, saying, "Hey, we gotta really investigate this." Until Liev Schreiber, which by the way, check this cast out, right? Let me just break it down before we get into the movie, right? Liev Schreiber's in it. Pretty sweet for all my fans out there. Love Marvel. Sabretooth. Pretty fucking cool. Michael Keaton. Batman. Yeah, you gotta fucking love that shit. Mark Ruffalo. The Hulk. Hey, 3 for fucking 3. And Rachel McAdams. Not a Marvel comic hero, superhero, but was in True Detective this past summer, and that was pretty fucking cool. So, you got one hell of a cast here. So, you got really strong actors in this one, actresses. So, in any event, so these guys are all working for the paper. And then Liev Schreiber comes up from Florida. And he plays this Jewish guy who comes up from Miami working for the Herald. And then he switches over, works for the Globe. And he's trying to get the Boston Globe to, be relevant. And, because people aren't really reading it. And, it's 1999, around there. And so, or maybe 2000. And, their readership is down. So he's there to try to boost readership. Talks to Michael Keaton about it. John Slattery, also another good actor in this, plays a really good role in this. The guy from Mad Men, the older guy from Mad Men. And, they eventually start to get tips about things that are going on in the church, and it's not all that wholesome. No pun intended. Mm-hmm. Yep. Wipe that fucking smile off your face. I see you smiling. Wipe it. So, anyway. So, they get these tips, and they're kind of thinking, there's some crazy shit going on over at that church. We might have to investigate that shit. Maybe it gets our viewership up. So, or readership, as they said back then. So, this takes place around that time, 2000 or so. And they start doing some investigative work. They meet with these lawyers. And they find out that this one lawyer this Garabedian guy represents a whole slew of plaintiffs. And he has these sealed documents. And the Globe wants these documents because they think that this ties everything together. So they go around and they're trying their best to, find out where they can, get the church. And they interviewed the main cardinal law up there and, the big bad booty daddy. And they got to go after that dude and they got to get that dude to, basically, kind of, give up all the bullshit. But he doesn't, obviously. And so they, Mark Ruffalo runs all over the place trying to get these files. Finally, the Garabedian guy says, look, they're actually public record. You can get them. But the church has an inside guy at the courthouse, and they somehow misplaced the files. So a couple years goes by. Now we get into 2001. This is like July of 01. And they're about to bust this wide open. I mean, they got a couple things to tie together, and wouldn't you know it, the World Trade Center towers come down and everything gets wiped right off the front page. And what do you think is on the front page now? So dominates a news cycle, and they're, like, oh shit, we gotta, we gotta get our stuff back on that cycle. So what Liev Schreiber does, he sits everybody down and says, look, guys, it doesn't matter if we take down one or two priests. It's just one or two priests say it's an isolated thing, and then they're out. We have to get to the top of the structure and bring it down from the top down. We have to exploit it, because what they found out in their investigative reports was that it was basically they were just moving, these priests or bishops all around the world. If they were to commit, molestation, sexual molestation, then they would just move them, to another area and get them out of there. And you have all these, stories and stuff of these kids that come forward. Well, they're not kids anymore; they're adults. But they come forward and they talk about it, and it basically sets a scene that they really kind of preyed on these like lower income kids that were like trying to grasp at anything, for something special in life. And I mean, it's a sad story. You hear about this kind of stuff, and you're like, this is really some fucked up shit. So then the lawyer for the church is like, Boston dude, Irish Catholic dude. He's like, yo, man, you can't trust that Jewish guy. He's just trying to sell papers, and when he does, he's going to bust on out of there, and he's going to head to some other place. So they're doing their best to make their spin for the church. Then the Boston Globe doing everything they can to get their evidence and get it back up on the front page. And so, it really is a hell of a story. And I mean, this is the stuff that, if you heard about this, if you're too young and you only heard about this is the kind of movie you actually want to see, because this kind of give you a little heads up on some things. I mean, it's pretty accurate to the story, the actual story, for those of us that actually remember the story. Not you motherfuckers that were born like in 95, you were like 5 when the shit happened. So keep that in mind. Know your role, know your fucking role. You were 5, okay? Back then, if you wanted to fucking know shit, okay, you couldn't just pull up Twitter and find shit out. You had to go do some investigative fucking reporting if you wanted to find that shit out. If you wanted to ask political candidates their views, you couldn't just fucking tweet. You had to ask them in person, all right? So, big difference. So that's what these guys were dealing with. And so, it's a great movie, and this will definitely keep you interested the whole way through. So, this definitely gets full price, and I think you guys will all enjoy it. So, in any event, that will cover it for Spotlight. Any questions that you guys might have, put it in the comments below. And anything that you want to know, put it in the comments below. And if you like what you see here and you want to see more, click right here to see more. Pow!